everyone, welcome to another week in our garden. Beautiful sunny day, birds are singing, and it's brilliant now because the wind has actually turned to the west. We've got rid of that awful northeasterly wind that was cutting across here, so it's terrible. So we've got this lovely wind coming, the sun's shining. I think and hope summer's arrived at last. Now we're going to start this week. We're going to take this cover off and we'll have a look at the Calabrese, see how that's doing. I have a cabbage in there I'd like to harvest, and then there's a cabbage in the next tunnel that will take as well, because if you don't get them they'll split, and once they split they're no good at all. We'll obviously waste a little more because of the flood water and the dirt that's in the bottom, so we'll have to discard. We can't use those leaves, but we'll know better when we've harvested the first one and had a look. Okay, this is the cabbage we're going to harvest. Want to get it out of here now. We'll get it out and then look how dirty the bottom is after the flood. Okay, as you can see it's quite a big cabbage, but it's pushing against the tunnel now, so it needs to come out and give the other ones round it a bit of a chance. Now you can see she's quite a big girl. She wants some cutting. Right, the bottom's that strong, I'm going to have to cut it with the secateurs. I can't get to it with the knife. That's better. There's a good heart in there and a lot of leaves. That's a cracking cabbage, isn't it? I'll just strip some of these leaves off. Okay. That's a lovely bit of breeze. It's nice and clean. As you can see, it's lovely and clean, nice clean cabbage. So the mesh has done a good job. Right, let's get it so we can see what we've got. We've got some leaves. We'll take this one, I think, and that one, and then we'll take that stem off, and then that's as good as you want. There you are. As you can see, there's a little bit of mud in there, but that's not too bad at all, and there's a really good heart in there. Pleased with that. It's a good cabbage. I created some space for these others to come on a little bit, but as you can see, this one is a nice big cabbage. It's just beginning to heart up, so we'll give that one another week, and then there'll be another one to follow there. Just before we close this tunnel down again, we'll just show you how the Calabrese is coming on. I think it'll be alright now after the flood. A good hoeing. I haven't fed them yet. I ought to put some feed on this week as well. I just more or less left them to dry out and see how they react. They're doing quite well. I'm very pleased with the Calabrese. They've come on very well. At least we'll be able to harvest them in maybe a fortnight. Depends on the weather. We don't want no more rain now. Whilst we've got the cover off this tunnel, I'm just going to pop 3 of these fly traps in, because I did actually spot a couple of white fly up there, so I really ought to be checking to see what we've got in there. They're quite simple. They're just sticky bright yellow. Attracts the flies with being bright yellow. They do actually work quite good. Stick it on like that, and then I staple it with the staple gun. Just 2 staples just to check it. 1, not the best to staple in. 2, that'll hold them. Whitefly there, look, so that's 1 left. So that's 3 on the tunnel now, and I've seen whitefly in the air, so I'm definitely going to get this tunnel covered. Right, while we're down at the tunnels, I've opened the next one up a little bit, and I'm going to take this greyhound cabbage just here. Gemma will use it, but we also need to have a look, because it's the first one we've harvested, just have a look at the bottom of it and see what condition it's in. There's nothing wrong with the roots are well. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let's take it out and have a look. Just cover the tunnel up again. I use secateurs to cut the root off, obviously, because it's far too tough for the knife. Strip some of the leaves and have a look what we've got. Yeah, that'll do. Bit of dirt in it, look. Can you see? A bit of silt. But it seems to be only in the bottom. We'll let Gemma decide whether they want it or not. Can you see the mess? The silt and the mess that's in the bottom. I'll just cut that off and run away. Get something in that one. We had a slug in that one, madam. Here you are. There's a nice little greyhound. That'll come in. Wash the bottom, that'll be fine. Now last week I took the Romanesco out of here that was completely blown, and rather than leave it open, I put in some kohlrabi, another batch of lettuce. As you can see, I haven't quite finished yet. I'll finish it this evening while it's a bit cooler. A broad strip of radish just there, and then some spring onions. These will be gone by the end of August, when I'll replenish the soil again and put the Romanesco in again, this time at a cooler part of the year, and we should get better results. But in the meantime, we'll have some nice salad crops out of it. Now, while we're down here, we're going to take a kohlrabi. You can see the one I'm going to take. It's the first one on the row at this end. Brussels are doing well. I'm afraid it's a hands and knees job to get these out. There you are, lovely little plant. Clean as a whistle, look. I do like these nets because these really do attract the white fly and green fly. I'm very pleased with that. That's the sort of size you really want these. Now to cut the bottom, leave the dirt on the garden, by the way, look. We don't want that in the compost heap. Now to cut that stem with the knife, I don't know if you remember last week, it's quite tough. So I brought the secateurs down this week so we can just snip it off a little easier. And then we do the dressing as normal, look. Take these off. Sharp knife. Just take those off. There you go. And 2 more. 3 more, we'll take that one as well. And that's how you send them for packaging, if you like. But there's a little bit of mark there, that's nothing. That's fine. Solid as a rock, that is. Lovely. Now these greens I shall give to the chickens. Sometimes they'll eat the lot, and sometimes they don't touch them. They're funny old things. As you can see, the pumpkins and squashes are doing rather well. They seem to have liked the flood. Now next week I'll get some clips made up and we'll start putting them into circles, and we'll also have to start training the ones that's near the frame onto the frame. It's doing quite well. Now next week we'll also have to put these leeks in. We're going to put them just beyond these frames, between the frames and the onions. We'll put them in with the bulb planter, but we'll do that next week. Plenty to do this week. There's a little bit more lettuce to go in there. This is part of the every 3 weeks I set anyway. It was a good job because now we need them now. There's another 20 kohlrabi there. I don't know whether we'll have room to set those or not yet. We'll have to see. Just moved up to the fruit cage and I've tied most of the raspberries in, but I left this end just to do them with you. When we've tied the third wire on, and then they'll come up to about this height, and then I'll show you how we loop them back and plait them or tie them down, because if you don't, because they're very tender at the tops, if you get a bit of storm they'll just snap off and then you lose your top fruits. We're on the second wire now. Let's tie this in and finish this row. I have got a piece of string ready. This is sisal string. Sisal or jute string will do nice. I think last time we used jute string, but this time we're using sisal. It's as good because it rots away just as easy as the jute. What I do is I go round and loop over, and then I can pick the next one up at the back. Look, that's going at the back, so we'll take it this way. Look, it'll be easier. There you go. You just keep looping it round. If you find a cane, like in a moment, we've got a cane on the opposite side, so I find if you go round twice and then pick that cane up on the way back, look, can you see? And then just keep going. Just keep going till you run out of string. Just put a loose tie onto the wire like that, and then you've got a tail to tie your next piece of string to. Same as before, a metre or thereabouts, just a simple knot, and then we carry on this side. When there's a tail to pull, don't worry, pull a leaf or two off, it'll be fine. That one's at the back, look, so we go round the back and then pull it through. Right, where they're coming out a bit, these are ones that we missed on the first one because they weren't big enough. Now they are big enough, we'll take them in on this wire, okay? So just pull them through, round again. And the next one's at the back, so we go round the back and then to the front. This one's at the front, look, so you'll find that if you go over again and then come to pick it up, it holds it better. You see? You'll always get a leaf or two come off with you. Again, look, it's getting easier now because they're a bit thinner, so those two can go there together. Try and space them a little bit. It's impossible to space every single one. And remember, they are a bit prickly, so wear gloves if you need to. Now these is missed the first one, look, so we'll pick them up now. So there's one there. Take it over again, look, and then we'll pick that one up, straighten that one up. Can you see it there? These aren't quite there yet, look, so we won't bother with those. We'll just tie off at that. And what I find is if you tie it to this end, you just tie it loose, you can always come back, and then when these grow up a bit you can whip that off and tie them in as they go. Now looking back you can see how nice and tidy that looks. If you didn't have the strings on, it'll be all hung right over here. Right, we'll just have a look at the new raspberries that we're planting to replace those. Now if you remember, we're doing them in 3 batches, early, middles and lates. These are the lates. All this growth has been made this year, so these will be tied in. I've tied the centres in, as you can see. When they get a little bigger I'll tie them again, and then we'll do the loop down to this rail. The earlies should now be fruiting or getting ready to fruit, so we'll have a look. These are the early raspberries. Remember, these are only 6-7 months old now, and they've started to fruit a little. We don't want a lot of them this year, but to say that, they're doing quite well. These will be hybrids. These are Malin-Juno. As you know, the mid-season failed, and I do believe, looking down this, well, there's 2. So we've got 2 alive. Are fresh planted, where if they had lived last year, these would have been getting ready for fruit bearing now. Now we've lost a season with the centre batch, but if they all grow, that'll make up for it next year. But it'll always be a year behind now. When these are really established and flowering and fruiting well, this one will always be a year behind. Now the strawberries. Now as you can see, the strawberries, I'm afraid, are suffering from mildew, but I think there's no actual white mildew showing on them, so it's probably just because of that flood and they got so wet, and the weather just hasn't been kind. We're getting 1 or 2. 1 or 2's coming, so what we'll do tonight, that one's deformed, but it's still with us. But if you look at nearly every plant has got a few on them that's really are going rotten, and the ones that haven't, that one's fine. There's a decent one there, I'll just pull it. Decent one there, look, but the slugs have had it. Now what we're going to do this evening, we're going to come down and we're going to spray with some baking soda, see if we can just control it a little. Now obviously the strawberries that have got the mould are not going to get any better, so I'll go in front first and I'll take off as many of the mouldy ones, if you like, as possible, and then spray what's left. Remember, it's at the flower stage when this rot sets in, so once it's in the flower it will be in your fruit. So while I'm spraying this evening, what I'll do is I'm going to take some of the leaves off as well to get more airflow through them. I'm sure they're salvageable, so there will be some crop out of them. Right, now we'll make our way up to the greenhouse, because I've got some beautiful cucumbers to harvest, and also show you what we've been up to in the greenhouse this year. And on the way we'll have a look at the grapevine, which now I call the crazy grape. While we go past the lettuce, I nearly forgot, we'll take a couple of lettuce with us as well. If you can remember on the film, these was completely underwater right up to there, but I think the heart will be good, so I'll take that off and then we'll clean it from there and see what we get. You see, looking inside, they're quite clean, so that'll be usable. I'll just take one more. If you remember the radish that was there, we lost the radish completely. We thought the radish was going to be alright and the lettuce wasn't, but it was finished up the other way around. Take that away. Let's just strip a little bit of the bottom off and see how dirty. Take those away, they really are dirty, we don't want those. But that's not bad. That's clean, we'll have that one. Right, we're outside the shed where the vine is. As you can see, it really is, and it's all the way at this sort of height. So now it's the crazy grape. I shall have to spend some time, we won't be able to do it till next week. I shall put it up for next week where we have to cut all these back, we can't have those, and it goes all the way through the whole plant. These crazy stems, we'll have to reduce them right down to here and just have one set of flowers on each one. It really has gone berserk. If you see here, all this will have to be trimmed back. If we have it that big, we'll not be able to get any fruit off it at all, because all the strength is going into the stems where we want it producing fruits. The flowers and the fruits are all set now. Next week we'll tame the crazy grape and cut it back. There'll be an awful lot to come off. It really has grown well this year. Now we're in the greenhouse now, and I'll just show you what we've been up to, because I haven't been in for quite a while. Tomatoes are, now the tomatoes are all in the boxes doing well. The fruit is set on some, so we have got tomatoes. I have started feeding now. They're all doing well. This poor old tomato here, it was actually washed out by it was actually in the garden, and it got washed out by the flood, and it was rolled across the garden, it was up against the fence, and it was totally and absolutely covered in mud, and I felt so sorry for it. I found a box and made a bit of room and brought it up here. We'll see how it performs now it's had a good soaking in mud and all sorts, bless it. You see, the peppers are doing rather well. They're doing fine. They're getting up to their full height now. They are beginning to put flower buds on. I don't know if you can see them under there. There's flowers there. So hopefully we shall get some peppers on there. Tomatoes are showing fruit now, so putting plenty of feed on. I finished up with 5 pepper plants in here. The rest are now down the garden. They're coming up to the full height. As I said, they've all got flowers on, so they're doing well. This is that one called Fem Spot. It's absolutely loaded up with cucumbers. Now, we finished up actually with 4 plants. We had 6 and I gave 2 away. And then I put 2 in each box to try and slow them down this year, because they went mad last year. I put the top on to try and take the weight. I had them on canes last year and they just slid down the cane with the weight, so hopefully that will help them. The other thing we've got in the greenhouse this year that we don't usually grow it here, somebody's decided they wanted some melons. So we put a few seed in and we actually got, what, 2, 4, 6 plants. So I put the 2 big boxes there, put a support up for them, and I've started them off with the machine just to get them to cling on, and they're just beginning to now. As you can see, it'll be interesting to see if we can get some melons as well. Now while we're here, we need to harvest some of these cucumbers. They're getting rather heavy, so I think we'll take 2. As you can see, there's plenty there. There's loads of cucumbers on them, so we'll try and take 2 of the biggest if we can. It'll have to be this one. We'll cut it off there. Beautiful cucumbers. This is Fem Spot, and it's not a lot of seed in it, so it's very, very, very fleshy and nice cucumber. Just take that off, look, just keep it neat. I'll take one more. It's just finding the biggest though to take. That one there, I think. We'll take that one as well, and we'll just slice that. The little marks is where they've caught on the leaves, etc., and on the mesh. They're no problem, they'll be alright. So there you are, the first of the cucumbers. Fem spot, very nice cucumber. So that's the cucumbers harvest. There's going to be loads more of those on there. That'll be about it for this week. You can see how the garden has recovered from that very bad flood. I do believe down the village, somebody was telling me that somebody had water 5 feet deep in the house, which is awful. We were reasonably lucky, it was just the garden. Now that'll be it for this week. I shall be running too long again and I'll be in trouble. So many thanks for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Now we've got beautiful sunshine, the summer's arrived and the crops are coming through, so we'll keep harvesting now, hopefully. Okay then, bye for now.